Hello everyone, we are Group 18 and today we are excited to present our term paper on DINOv2, Learning Robust Visual Features Without Supervision. This work explores how self-supervised learning can be scaled to produce powerful, general-purpose visual models without relying on label data or text supervision. To start, this work aims to create a single vision encoder that works out of the box for both image level tasks like classification and pixel level tasks like segmentation without needing any labels or fine tuning. The authors trained a massive 1 billion parameter vision transformer called VITG using 142 million curated images and a refined self supervised learning method. What's powerful is that this big model is distilled into smaller versions VITS, B, and L so others can reuse these features easily. Even without any text, these frozen features outperform or match models like Clip that rely on captions. It's a big step towards making vision models more accessible, robust, and environmentally sustainable. We have already seen the success of foundation models in NLP, like GPT or BERT, which produce task agnostic features that work out of the box. The same idea is now being applied to vision. A single encoder that works across many visual tasks simplifies pipelines dramatically. For example, instead of training a new model for classification and another for segmentation, you just reuse the same encoder. And self supervised learning helps scale these models without relying on manually labeled data or captions. So there's no caption bias and it's much more scalable. So, what sets DINOv2 apart? First, the authors improve the self supervised training recipe by tuning hyperparameters, adding regularizers like Colio, and optimizing loss functions. Second, they scale up training with VITG over a billion parameters and then distill this into smaller VITs to make the model more usable. Third, instead of using noisy, uncurated data like past work, they build a high quality dataset of 142 million images using clustering based curation. And finally, they make training efficient with technical tricks like flash attention and sequence packing, which reduce memory and speed up training, making it practical to scale. The core objective here is to prove that you can build a strong, ready to use vision model using only pictures, no labels, no text, no captions. The idea is to train a large VIT on a clean, diverse patch of images and produce a model that works across many tasks like classification, segmentation, depth estimation, and more. And they succeed. The resulting DINOv2 models not only match but often beat text supervised models like Clip. This shows that with enough data and the right training recipe, self supervised learning can truly stand on its own and scale like NLP models have. This slide summarizes four main lines of work in self supervised learning for vision and where they fall short, especially in the context of DINOv2 tries to solve. First, intra-image pretest tasks like patch prediction or in painting helps model learn from single images, but they usually need supervised fine-tuning to be useful. Frozen features remain weak. Next, discriminative SSL methods like instance contrast and Dino try to bring similar images close together in feature space. They work well on curated datasets but often struggle to scale. Quality drops when the data gets larger or noisier. The third, scaling SSL, has trained large models like VITL using uncurated web data, but this data is often noisy and biased, so models still need task specific fine tuning. Finally, we have automatic data curation, which is relatively new in vision. Prior work rarely curated data at this scale. DINOv2 introduces a clustering based pipeline inspired by NLP to create a high quality, diverse data set that's central to its success. This figure shows the first three PCA components of DINOv2 patch level features, visualized as RGB colors. Each row has similar looking images, and what's impressive is that the model aligns key parts like wings, heads, or wheels across different styles, poses, and even object types. This proves that DINOv2 learns consistent, semantically meaningful features at the pixel level without any labels or segmentation supervision. This figure shows how DINOv2 scales across 8 vision tasks at model size increases. The blue line represents DINOv2, clearly outperforming previous self-supervised models, orange, and even matching or surpassing weakly supervised models, pink, on most benchmarks. Notably, it achieves strong results in fine-grained tasks like segmentation, instant retrieval, and video understanding, despite using no labels or caption. This highlights DINOv2 ability to deliver robust, general purpose features at scale.
begin with next section, that is data processing. The DINOv2 team found that existing self-supervised models struggled when scaling beyond ImageNet 1K because they often relied on uncurated, noisy web images. This leads to poor generalization and representation quality. To solve this, they introduced a novel automated data curation pipeline, aiming to capture the benefits of scale and diversity without sacrificing quality. The result is called LVD 142 million high quality and diverse images. Here's how it works in detail. First, they gather a few trusted curated datasets, ImageNet 22K, Google Landmarks, and fine grained classification datasets. These serve as the high quality reference set. Then, from a large web crawl of around 1.2 billion raw images, they extract image URLs from tags across web pages and download them. These raw images go through several filters such as NSFW removal, face blurring, PCA hash deduplication, and safety checks. The next is the core step, that is embedding plus retrieval. All images curated and uncurated are passed through a self-supervised VIT model to generate feature embedding. Then, using cosine similarity, the system retrieves visually similar images from the uncurated pool for each curated image. This step ensures visual diversity while preserving the core semantics. To maintain efficiency, they use FAIS, that is Facebook Similarity Search Library, with GPU acceleration, product quantization, and k means clustering to scale this process. This process is fully unsupervised. No labels, caption, or external metadata are required, just the structure of visually similar itself. So, the final LVD 142 million dataset balances scale and cleanness, outperforming both ImageNet 22K and raw uncurated dataset in downstream tasks, including transfer learning and generalization. Next, moving on to the discriminative self supervised method, we focus on how DINOv2 actually learns from the data. The key idea here is to combine two complementary objectives. DINO, image level loss, that is, it trains the model to match global representation between two views or crops of the same image. It uses a teacher student model. The teacher is an EMA, that is exponential moving average or of the student weights. And the second key idea here is IBOT patch level loss, that uses masked image modeling where the paths of the image are hidden from the student, and the student is trained to predict patch level representation from the teacher. This captures fine grained structure. They further refine the setup by untangling the heads for these losses using separate MLPs for Dino and iBot rather than sharing them, which improves performance at scale. To stabilize training, they introduce SkinCon knob centering from SWAV, which avoids dominance of frequent patterns in the prototype space. And the second, they use regularizer, which encourages a more uniform feature space by penalizing clustering of sample. Here, here is the formula briefly for Colio regularizer. It computes the log of the minimum pairwise distances in the batch and promotes spread out embedding. This is important for retrieval and transfer learning. Another small but impactful trick, a short high resolution phase is added at the end, by which images are trained at 518 cross 518 pixels instead of the usual 224. This drastically improves performance on dense tasks like segmentation and depth without much computation overhead. Altogether, these design choices makes the DINOv2 framework highly robust, stable at scale, and versatile across both image level and pixel level tasks. So, next in the efficient implementation section, the author tackles one of the biggest challenges, scaling to a billion parameter models while keeping training efficient and reproducible. The backbone here is custom VITG model with 1.1 billion parameter. So several engineering optimizations are essential. Let's walk through key improvement. First, talking about flash attention, a highly optimized attention mechanism that computes self-attention in a memory efficient and fused manner. It helps reduce overhead on 800 GPUs and is customized here to support a wider range of hardware and dimensions. Second, sequence packing. In standard Dino training, images are processed in multiple crop sizes, for example, 98 and 224 resolution. Normally, these require separate forward passes, but with sequence packing, they combine all crops into a single long token sequence and use a block diagonal mask to restrict cross attention. This gives a significant speed up. Next is the efficient stochastic depth. Instead of applying dropout to outputs, this skips entire residual blocks during training. It saves compute directly and helps scale up high drop rates up to 40%. Next is the fully shared data parallel FSDP. This breaks the model and optimizer states across GPUs, so one is no longer limited by the memory of a single GPU. FSDP also uses float 16 for communication, reducing bandwidth cost by around 50%. And finally, model distillation. For smaller VIT models like VITL, they don't train from scratch. Instead, they distill knowledge from the VIT-G teacher. The training loop remains mostly the same, but the teacher is frozen and the student mimics its outputs. Interestingly, even distilled VITL out, outperforms the same model trained from scratch across 12 benchmarks. All the codes and models are released under APAC 2.0, making these improvements directly usable in other version applications.